I'm Mike Bobek, your host, and today we're really going to focus on job architecture through the lens of how it supports organizations in transforming parts of their business. Joining me today is Willem Potgieter. He's one of our solution leaders here at Orgvue, and he's going to step us through a demonstration of our platform and some of our joint solutions today. Before we get started, just wanted to mention that you do have an opportunity to submit questions throughout the discussion today. Somebody from our team then will follow up with you as quickly as they can to answer some of those questions. And please feel free to engage. So with that, let's get started. The first place I want to start is really just framing the opportunity for job architecture. And it seems like it's really a hot topic in the market right now. And part of the reason for that is because of what we're seeing in terms of scarcity or availability of talent, which feels a bit more acute in some sectors than others. But as we know, with some of the demographic shifts that are happening and anticipated over the next several years, the availability of talent is going to be really a challenge across every industry. And what we're seeing right now is in some sectors, companies are thinking about how they redefine jobs rather than continuing to struggle to source some of that talent. How do they think about redefining some of those jobs to fulfill the needs that they have for their business? Obviously, the other hot topic and trend that we see is around the advent of AI and automation. And what this is really forcing companies to do is not just think about capacity that gets freed up as a result of adopting new technology, but really rethinking how work gets delivered, and as a result, how we rethink what jobs are required in the future. And then lastly, particularly here in the US, with all the geopolitical dynamics happening, supply chains getting disrupted, a lot of businesses are on edge. Just recently this month in April, we saw that United Airlines, as an example, came out with 2 forecasts for profitability for 2025. And it's, I think, just an example of what we're seeing in terms of companies who can't predict the future are saying, hey, look, let's go and scenario plan 2 different points of where we expect this segment of our economy and our business to be shaped over the next couple of years. So underlying all of this really is job architecture and how we think about the framing of jobs and career pathing and the availability of talent. And so what we're going to talk about today is how to actually put this into practice. So, one of the things that for those of us in the HR community have realized over the years is job architecture is typically associated with a lot of pain. It's really rigorous. It's really tedious. It involves a lot of spreadsheets. And there's reason for that, right? Especially in large organizations, what we see is the proliferation of jobs, especially for those that have acquired other businesses over time. We also see, particularly in global organizations, equity challenges where potentially in certain markets, there's pay differences, there's regulatory challenges. So those are all reasons why it becomes really challenging to create a consistent framework that you can execute against. Thirdly, we see challenges with technology. So most modern organizations are set up with some system of record to manage their people and positions data. But what they don't have is a great way to visualize some of that data, particularly as it relates to job architecture, and not just visualize it, but begin to modify, adjust, and plan differently. And then lastly, what we see is a challenge around maintenance. Job architecture is not a one-stop shop activity. It's not a one-time event. Businesses change, businesses evolve. The jobs and the talent within those jobs change as well. And so it becomes really, really important to be able to not just see how your job architecture is changing, but to be able to actually make some of those adjustments over time. And where this really comes together is this is not just a conversation around job architecture. This is equally a conversation around how job architecture impacts and influences the operating model in your business. So when we think about job architecture, we think about the design of jobs, the career paths, the compensation structures. And when we think about those jobs, it's about the accountabilities and the work that are expected in order to deliver against the outcomes that job is expected. Job leveling is more a matter of thinking about the levels of experience and seniority, and in some cases, the decision-making authorities that are associated with how you think about jobs within the context of the business. Those become really, really important inputs into how we think about organizational design and organizational structure, as well as talent strategy, right? So as we talked about, in thinking about the placement of talent, the sourcing of talent, the acquisition of talent, I really need to know the types of jobs and what I'm willing to pay those jobs in the market in order to figure out how I'm going to source that talent in the future, and whether I've got the requisite skills in-house that support fulfilling those jobs going forward.